Good morning. The word for you today. Today is Thursday, January 23rd, and our devotion is titled Be Guided by Wisdom, Not Impulse. Our scripture passage today comes out of the book of Proverbs, chapter 19, verse 2, which says, Desire without knowledge is not good, and one who moves too hurriedly misses the way. I don't know about you, but my brain and my mouth don't seem to have the same speed. It seems like when I'm thinking of something, when I want to do something, my brain has all these ideas and it wants to share them, and it has this elegant speech that it wants to give. And my mouth, it just can't keep up with it. The words that I think aren't the words that come out. I end up skipping a few lines or skipping a word. And sometimes that's fine. Sometimes it's as funny as forgetting the verb, and so I just say a sentence full of nouns and it doesn't make much sense, but you get the gist of it. Other times it can be a bit of a problem. There are times when I say the wrong thing. And it's not because I believe that thing. It's not because I actually think that. It's just because I didn't speak correctly. I didn't have the right sentence. And that can cause a lot of hurt and confusion. One thing I have to remind myself is that it's not just anger that makes us say things we don't mean. It's also sadness and joy. When we have these emotional breakthroughs, these emotional peaks, where there's just an overwhelming feeling that we have to get out by word, it's really easy for those words to be jagged, to have cutting edges to them. It can hurt a lot of people. So, what does that have to do with this scripture? I think that this applies to most things in life. When we rush into something, when we don't take the time to consider if it's even viable, if it's a good idea, if it's smart, if it's safe, we put ourselves and those around us in danger. A really great example of this is a story in Judges. A man, he promises God. He's very excited and he says, God, the first thing that comes out of my household, I will sacrifice to you. And God never asked him to do it. But because he was so excited and he was such in an emotional state concerning a victory in a battle he had won, he makes this promise. And the first thing to walk out of his home when he returns is his daughter. And now he's kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. And what is he to do? And the text tells us that she goes willingly and she says, you've made a promise to God, and she is sacrificed. And while her part in this is noble and says a great deal about what her faith in God looked like, it's also a horrific and depressing story. We see it with Peter, who excitedly says, God, Jesus, I'll never abandon you. I'll never deny you. And then almost immediately breaks that promise 3 times. We see it in Paul, who is so vehemently against this plague, this infection in Judaism that is the Christian movement. He is a man who's going to wipe out Christians, and he has this radical conversion. the Bible, the biblical narratives, and our religious histories are filled with these moments where people acted out of rage or joy or angst or any other emotion, and they acted rashly. And those unintended consequences, those unaccounted consequences, when they came, their price was heavy. So we're at the end of, or getting close to the end of the first month of 2025. And I'm sure that all of you are dealing with life. I'm sure there's already been some joys and some setbacks. And they're only going to keep coming. Find joy in those, but take the time to slow down, to find wisdom in what is right, and to follow its path. Have a nice day.